Hey everybody, it's Jared Turner. If you don't recognize the building behind me, that is the State Capitol building in Tennessee. I'm here in one of my very favorite cities, Nashville, on vacation. So just so you guys know, I don't spend all of my time at cemeteries and places where there's dead people. So I'm just really kind of enjoying this nice morning. There's a dead president behind me, isn't there? Well, so much for vacation. This is monumental history. So if you're watching this, you probably fall in one of two categories. One, you're a history fan, or you're one of my students and I told you to watch the video. Either way, you should probably at least know by now that James K. Polk was the 11th president of the United States. He served from 1845 to 1849. But what you may not know, he was also the 13th United States Speaker of the House of Representatives. He was also the 9th governor of the state of Tennessee. He was also a really big fan of Manifest Destiny. In fact, so much so that he's kind of the driving force behind the Mexican-American War. That's a video for another day. At the end of that war, however, the United States became a continental nation. So in just 4 years of President Polk, he did a lot more than some people do in 8. Now, after he left office, he did acquire a very unique record. He is the shortest lived president after leaving the White House. He only lived 103 days before he died of a disease called cholera. Now, customary with the laws at the time, he was actually buried in a mass grave at the Nashville City Cemetery, and he remained there for a year. After that year was up, he was moved to his presidential mansion, which was called Polk Place. Now, it was during this time that his wife, Sarah, also acquired a very unique record. She is the longest surviving widow of a former president in U.S. history. She lived another 42 years at Polk Place. Now, over that time, she became a bit of a recluse. She actually let the mansion fall into shambles, and when she passed away in 1891 and was buried next to her husband, it was quickly determined that it wasn't going to work very well because the house was going to have to be torn down. The Polks were moved here behind me in 1893, and they've been here ever since. Now, you would think that would be the end of the Polk body moving saga, but maybe not. Over the past few years, there has been a huge amount of support to have the Polks moved once again, but this time to the Polk Museum, which is in Columbia, Tennessee, about an hour south of Nashville. Now, this has been a hot button issue in the Tennessee state legislature for several years, honestly, because people don't want to spend the money to move the president again. Now, it remains to be seen if he will get moved, but one thing is for sure, even though Polk was responsible for moving our country from the Atlantic to the Pacific, he may have done just as much moving after his death. I'm Jared Turner, and this is Monumental History.